The New Zealand Service Rifle Association. And this is the only submission we've got, is that correct?
No. Excuse me, Madam Chair, there is a full submission that goes with that as well.
Right. I'll have a look for it.
That was an addendum to the original submission, just to, I guess, give weight to a point made in the submission.
Right, okay, thank you. I'll have a look for the original one. We'll have it somewhere. Thank you. So please go ahead. We've got 10 minutes.
Madam Chair, members of the Select Committee, my name is John Herbert and I'm the spokesperson for the New Zealand Service Rifle Association. I've been shooting service rifle for over 20 years. I'm an immediate past president and former national champion. I'm a firearms dealer and collector. I'm a registered police valuer and part of the KPMG pricing team that sets prices for the buyback. I've been part of the Select Committee appointed Firearms Community Advisory Forum since its inception. I've completed the Pistol New Zealand Range Inspectors course and am familiar with how ranges are certified. I have completed the Wellington Military and Police Armourers course and have been repairing, tuning and modifying firearms for over 20 years. I'm a husband and a father and a slightly depressed rugby coach at the moment.
I was depressed as Steve Hansen.
No. Who are the New Zealand Service Rifle Association? We're not a bunch of extremists. We're target shooters. We shoot paper and steel targets and compete for the love of our sport. We compete nationally and internationally, sending a New Zealand team overseas most years. We've evolved from the old rifle clubs that shot 303 rifles in most towns and cities in New Zealand. We still shoot 303 rifles, but as they haven't been made for 70 years, we use newer rifles we can get parts for that are accurate, safe and reliable. We don't see our rifles as weapons, and that frankly is a pretty offensive term to us. They're tools that allow us to win medals. We have Muslim and Jewish members, and it would be safe to assume we have Christian and atheist as well. We're a sport where women compete on a level playing field with men and win. We're doctors, lawyers, police officers, soldiers, tradespeople, mothers, fathers, office workers, and artists. We talk politics, sport, food, family, and work, but mostly we talk about our sport. The one thing we care about is how we behave, because we live in a world where we know that some parts of our society don't like guns, especially semi-automatics. We're safe. The New Zealand Defence Force let us run our national matches on their ranges using our rules. Further to that, they allow people to compete and allow their people to compete and allow the New Zealand Service Rifle Association to run the competition. The New Zealand Defence Force are a very risk-averse organisation. They trust us and have done so for a number of years now without incident. We have a document called Service Match Code. It was first drafted in 1995 and it's now its 5th revision. This document is what the New Zealand Defence Force read and decided, we can work with these people. We're responsible. For years now, we've self-vetted members in the absence of a police requirement to do so. When police vetters have asked us, is Fred Smith serious about service rifle shooting and should we issue him with an endorsed licence? We've said no. Why? Because we don't want people in our organisation who we don't know and don't understand. We can't afford to have people who don't show dedication to the sport, people who just want the guns, who want guns like ours because they covet them. They have to want the sport first and foremost. The New Zealand Service Rifle Association has said in FCAF meetings prior to March 15 that they would prefer if all large capacity magazines were only able to be held by endorsed licence holders. Yeah. Minister Nash has said twice when addressing FCAF that endorsed licence holders are not, in his opinion, the problem. He went on to state that a person who spends $4,000 to $5,000 on a rifle for competition is not the person he was worried about. We are those people. We have invited police to our events for years now because we have nothing to hide. We care about how we're perceived. Section 3.5 of Service Match Code places limits on wearing camouflage gear because we don't want to look like a bunch of wannabes and upset the public. That's our mindset. We have a track record of being compliant and cooperative, and we ask this committee recommend a competitive sporting exemption for bona fide organisations like the New Zealand Service Rifle Association so that we can continue to compete. We can work under the same robust, proven model that Pistol New Zealand uses for its members. We've discussed this with PNZ and they would support the New Zealand Service Rifle Association in establishing this setup. This will give police a huge amount of oversight and control. But most importantly, this exemption will be given to an organisation that will rigorously uphold rules because we realise that to do otherwise would condemn us. Buyback. Service rifle competitors use a lot of ammunition, and our events may have 3 to 5 times as many shots as a Deerstalkers or NRA event. A lot of that ammunition is now prohibited. We have to hand this ammunition in for no compensation. The bespoke scopes, slings and other accessories and accoutrements that fit banned rifles are also not covered in the buyback. There is no one to sell the ammunition and scopes, etc. to, because there is no demand for it now the firearms are gone. Economics 101, really. Ironically, some of the prohibited ammunition was sold by the New Zealand government. This is New Zealand. We're supposed to treat people fairly. We pride ourselves on that concept. And it's a sad indictment on our society that when fairness doesn't extend to licensed firearm owners. We asked the Select Committee to recommend that the scope of the buyback is extended to cover these items. Clubs and ranges. The NZSRA is worried about the unintended consequences of the club and range legislation. New Zealand already has a lack of rifle ranges, and oppressive requirements will without doubt close ranges and force clubs to disband. Every weekend there are events held on farms and other private property. These are not official ranges, but under the proposed legislation, these will no longer be able to operate. In the police RIA, there is a clear indication that compliance requirements will be strictly enforced. This just isn't feasible or necessary. The Kaitoki Deerstalkers range in Upper Hutt has a process where every member must undertake a range safety officer's course, and they have over 700 members. That makes everybody responsible for safety, not just one person. Rangers in New Zealand are certified, and those that certify them have a warrant from New Zealand Police to do so, including Ohara Valley. Why add bureaucracy to a system that is already working and does not cost the police time or manpower? NZSRA member Steve Goodman asked by OIA for evidence of issues regarding existing ranges. The police response was that they have no database of incidents and that what they had was anecdotal. That's what you have, Madam Chair. Sorry. Yet it appears that this is a big driver towards certifying ranges. The reality is shooting will still go on. That will be carried out either casually in a less safe place or it will continue on farms but in a covert nature. This is a solution looking for a problem. We asked the Select Committee to recommend a complete rewrite of the proposed bill regarding ranges and clubs, but only after full consultation with affected stakeholders. Other matters pertaining to the bill, we support the points made by Colfo.
Thank you. Very good submission. Members, do we have any questions for Mr. Herbert?
Just a question I've been wanting to ask about ranges. So Sally before talked about 2 people going to the range, whether that's becomes a club, and you talked about people going off to a farmland doing shooting there. You're saying that will be banned under these arrangements because even on a private farm, if you have 2 or more people, they would be deemed a club. Is that how it's captured?
It could well be interpreted that way. I've had a lot of dialogue with police policy group over this, and I'm afraid I'm not a lot clearer, other than the fact that it could be deemed to be a club. And if you are shooting targets on your farm, then an interpretation of the bill could state that that is now a rifle range. When in
even
fact,
if you're an individual?
Correct.
So if they turn up, you have to say, I'm shooting at a rabbit, even though you might be shooting at something station.
Yes. And I imagine
that's the only way to get around it.
And I imagine if this bill passes, there'll be a lot of rabbits being shot.
Yep. Okay. Any further questions? No. Look, thank you. Very clear and very direct.
Thank you, Madam Chair.